The Colorado Avalanche make a trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But settle down. It's not what you think. Let's talk about it on a new episode of Locked on Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked on Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Locked on Avalanche, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Micieli. Joining me as always, Mr. Zach Pearson. Thank you for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. It's always appreciated. And for making the Locked on Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in the country. On today's episode, we will dive into a little bit of the Anaheim Ducks coming to town with a 4-game win streak, no less. Hey, there's that 31st power ranked team that people were talking about. And yeah, I opened the show kind of like tongue in cheek with an Avalanche with a trade. And we're not even going to start with that. That's it shows you how much of a trade that was, but it was a trade. So we're gonna discuss that. But where we're gonna start is the rumor mill. Who doesn't love the good rumor mill that's going around the league at this stage of the season with trades and everything? We talked about Panarin. We really talked about Panarin the day before the Rangers released that statement saying kind of like, we're open for business. So that could very well be a thing. But we're not going to talk about him. We're going to talk about a former Av, which I know a lot of people would love to have back and is in the rumor mill when it comes to the Avalanche, and that is Nazem Kadri. So you're getting, I think I've seen a couple of the insiders say that, the Avs are in on this. Darren Dreger was one of them saying, yes, multiple teams are. Why would they not be? But yeah, the Avs could be in the mix. At least they're kicking the tires. And when you hear that, sometimes there's not a lot. It doesn't go beyond that. I think if a guy like Kadri's on the market, if a guy like Panarin's on the market, you're going to do some due diligence and see like, okay, would this be worth it? What would it entail? And just look into it. It doesn't mean that it is going to happen. So when it comes to Kadri, Avs kind of are in the market for a 3C. I think that's where he is right now at this stage in his career. If you'd want to come back and be that, there's a lot to dissect here. What do you think?
I would love to have Nazem Kadri back. I loved him on this team. He was one of my wife's favorite players on the team. Like, I thought he was a great fit here. I thought overall it was awesome. I don't know that I see a clear path, kind of like with the Panarin situation. I don't know that I see a path of what the Avs would have to do, what the Flames would have to do. If it was no cap issues and just up to Kadri, I imagine he would come play 3C in a heartbeat here in Colorado. I don't think he would turn that down at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree. I think the Avs are in on it in the sense that Chris McFarland is not an idiot and he hears that a good potential 3C is on the market. He's going to go poke around. I don't know that it's definitely going to manifest into anything more than the Avs are in on it.
I don't know. Like I mean, we're talking about Panarin, right? And his dollar amount is a lot higher than Kadri. I think when you get anybody like this of like their caliber or their salary, there has to be some retention here because the Avs just simply can't afford to inherit a contract like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's look at the numbers. I mean, Kadri is making $7 million a year. If you get Calgary to, I mean, it's not everyone says like, oh, when there's retention, automatically it's going to be 50%. You would love that.
Right.
You would love for that to happen. The thing with Kadri is, this is not a rental. Panarin would be. You would have Kadri for the rest of this year and 3 more seasons after that. And that is why I think it's going to be a little bit difficult because would Calgary want to retain 50% salary for 3.5 seasons? I don't know. Like they have a ton of cap space. And the other side of this is Calgary is obviously open for business too, right? So they only have one more spot to retain salary. They've already have 2. in Rasmus Anderson, who they just traded, and Jacob Markstrom. So they have 2 out of 3 retained spots filled for this year. They don't have any after that. So if they make a trade of somebody other than Kadri that gets retained, you're done. You're out. Like you there's no way, because they can't retain any more salary, and the Avs cannot do that. They can't take in his full amount. So say they do retain, if it's 50%, that's $3.5 million. That is doable. That is very doable. But the other side of it is, and it's crazy. Like I don't think of this when I think of Nazem Kadri. Like his age, he's 35 years old.
I know.
Which is just wild. And so you'd be getting him for another 3 years after that. Is his numbers are going down, and I know he plays for Calgary, which is a struggling team. So is it one of those things where if you just get him out of Calgary, things improve for him? He's a beast. He's going to be out there 3 years in a row. He's played 82 games. So far this year, he's played 49. I don't know if Calgary has played 49, but it's probably close to that. If they're not at 49, if you want to look that up, go for it.
I can tell you real quick.
So in 49 games, he's got 9 goals, 25 assists, 34 points. He's a -18.
Funnily enough, they have played 49 games, and they are also a -18.
There you go. Yeah. So
the team is the exact same negative as Kadri.
It's Kadri. And Kadri's a big pride guy. Would he need to swallow some pride and play on a third line? I think if he's up to being traded to a contender, no matter where he goes, he might have to kind of slide into a middle 6, bottom 6 role. Now, I say bottom 6, not on a fourth line. He's not lost that much, but
right. Yeah.
Someone like the Avalanche, like, would he be okay? Like I said, he is a hard-nosed guy. Would he be okay at this stage in his career saying like, okay, I'll accept a third line role on a team that loves, or a fan base that loves me, knowing I can go win another cup?
I mean, there's the fan base that loves him and the opportunity to win another cup. Obviously, he's got one, which is great. That's the goal. You got to get at least one. But he does have an opportunity should he come somewhere like Colorado. And I think I do agree. He does want to play more minutes, and he has been for the majority of his career talented enough to play more minutes. I think he is the kind of guy that is competitive enough to understand sometimes this is the role I'm going to play, and that's what I will do. He doesn't strike me as a pride in the way of competing. But I mean, I've also never personally met him, so I don't know. This is all speculation. But I really do. Again, if we took all the money out of it and whatever the trade demand from Calgary would be out of it and just assumed that he could come over, absolutely, I think he would play on the 3C, and clearly he would crush it in that role. I can't imagine him not doing phenomenal if he was able to. So in a perfect world, everything works out. Heck yeah, let's bring Kadri over. But you made a good point. My issue with Panarin was, can you get New York to retain enough of the salary of that big $11 million contract? Maybe, because it's only one season.
Right.
3 seasons, like you said.
It's a lot.
Just ask the Denver Broncos how much it sucks paying for somebody who's not on your roster anymore. It's not the best. You don't like doing it.
Nope.
For multiple years. So,
and another spot where he could add value to the Avs, and I wouldn't say this if they didn't have issues there. Power play.
Yeah.
He could get some more minutes, throw him on that top line power play. Why not? Nothing else is working. So, it's just another added bonus that you might get out of him. So, threw this out to the subtext people, and, they definitely have thoughts. Adam says, depends on who they lose and if it's a rental. We kind of discussed why it wouldn't really be a rental. And I don't want to get into who they would lose. Because I'm horrible at who would go out. I think we know the names of who would go out, but it might be different. I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that much, but he does say the only reason you go get Kadri is to stop him from going to Dallas or Minnesota. And
There's
I'm
also
not
that.
sure that's enough. He'd be expensive bottom six because you're not moving out Nelson. No, you're not. I don't think the Avs are in that world where we're going to go get a guy just so our opponents don't get him. I understand that thinking, but if it doesn't make your team better, and I'm not saying Kadri would, like Kadri would in a sense. Yeah. I'm just saying in general, I don't think the Avs should be making moves to prevent a team behind them from, it's got to benefit the Avs.
I do agree.
Yeah.
On the same note, I would possibly lose my mind if Kadri decided to join Rantanen on the Dallas Stars.
It would hurt.
My brain might implode.
It would hurt. There is no doubt it would hurt. Kay says, I'll take him. Seems like he's fallen off a bit, but he brings the fire. Third line, I'm guessing. Yeah, I think, and the Avs are in the market for that. Avs are in the market for, probably some depth defense and depth forwards in terms of centers. Namely the 3C. So he would pretty much solve that problem. Not the judge. Napolitano says, hope he's good with the 3C role, even with the lack of tradable prospects and what is proving out to be the deepest roster in the league. It's wild that the Avs are even rumored to be in talks with 2 top 6 forwards, with the 27 first and second picks available, accruing cap space with Landy and Toews temporarily out. Anything could happen. Kadri might make us stronger down the middle, but Panarin would filter some stronger wingers down to play with Drury and elevate his game as a side effect. It's a lot of good thoughts there from Not the Judge.
Well thought out.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. And I just feel like anytime there is a big name that is out there, the Avs somehow are attached to it. And more often than not, it doesn't work out. Last year proved everybody wrong with the Brock Nelson thing. He was the number one fish in the pond at the trade deadline, and they went out and got him, which honestly surprised me because they really don't do that all that much. So I think going to do that with Nelson kind of fueled this thing for Avalanche fans of like, oh, we can go do that stuff. Okay, who's the top guys? How can we make it work? I don't think it was going to happen every single year, but who knows? Who knows? That's why the trade deadline is fun.
There's always some kind of splashy move that nobody expects,
right?
Except for Vegas. There's always a splashy move, and everybody accepts it or expects it, and I guess just accepts it in Vegas. But no, we'll see. I like you said, can't really speculate as to what would go out. I don't know what the package would have to be, but would I take Kadri on this team, especially if he's going to go into the 3C? 100%.
I would. And then the only thing that gives me pause is like the what's left on his contract, not the dollar amount, the term. It's going to be 38 years old and that thing's over. How is he going to be around that? I don't know. But are you thinking that far out, or are you just thinking right now he makes us better?
I almost think just go right now because he makes us better. Because if you can get one cup out of it in the 3 years, that already puts McKinnon and Makar's prime at 2 Stanley Cups, which is pretty dang good. That's not bad at all. So I don't know if he's the piece that puts you over the top. He might be. I would trade 2 years additional of contract, even if he was not the same player, if it meant getting a cup this year, for sure.
Stay tuned. We'll see where this thing goes. But the Avalanche did make a trade, and we're going to get to that after this. Let's hear from Indeed. And if you've hired someone who has looked good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. And when you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with less stress, less time, and more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of Locked On Avalanche get a 75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/lockedon. So just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Terms and conditions apply. If you're hiring, do it the right way and do it with Indeed. So the Avs did make a trade with the Pittsburgh Penguins and had some fun with that one. There's only one trade they should be making with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and this one's not it. But hey,
I did have a thought.
Yeah.
If they find a way to turn, because they get the additional draft pick and the player, so then you package those two with another something futures, and that goes back to Pittsburgh for Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby. Perfect. Perfect. So this deal went down. Ilya Solovyov, who it was nice to know you, I guess. You're here for not very long. Goes to Pittsburgh for a 7th round pick in this draft, and forward Valtteri Puustinen, who hasn't done a ton in the NHL. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I knew a ton about him, but I posted on socials about, hey, he brings the speed. He's got that, and we all know the Avalanche love speed. So seems like he was a 7th round draft pick in his own right. Seems like he's one of those guys that the potential talk, and hasn't really been given a big opportunity yet. I don't feel like he's going to. I think he's just gonna be one of those guys for the Avs that they'll bring up and down as needed. Yeah. Maybe you can catch lightning in a bottle here.
Would be cool. I was a little surprised to see them move a D piece out, a depth defensive guy for a depth forward. Right. Not really the move I would have anticipated. That being said, Bednar did say Toews is getting close, and I think this move kind of signifies that he's not coming back this week, but he's probably back relatively soon. So that's good news for both the Avs and Team Canada.
Sure.
But I agree. I don't know. I think he's probably going to be a guy that they have in place to be another one of these rotational up and down. Because one of them, I just feel like, especially the guys that they've moved up so far, they've all played fine. I haven't had too many problems with the call-ups that they've had, if really any problems. One of them, I think, eventually is going to do exactly what you said. They're going to catch that lightning. They're just going to click, and then you just leave that guy in for a while until it stops clicking. And he could be a guy that does that.
When a move like this is made, and you're right with the defense going out when you have an injury on defense, and you've called up numerous forwards, this year, and like you're saying, they've done okay. Like they've done what they needed to do.
Exactly.
It's a little bit of a head scratcher at this stage in the game. So immediately people are like, okay, what does this set up the next move for? What else is in the Avalanche pocket here? Because it doesn't make a ton of sense to move a defenseman out right now, who he's been fine. Solovyov, again, like we're saying how like the Avalanche are bringing up forwards to fill spaces, fill gaps, and are doing okay. Same thing with him. On a defensive end. So, Toews has got to be coming up around the corner, but I don't know.
Bednar did shout out your guy.
Who?
He said he was a pretty big fan of Jackashan. And
he did.
He did. Yeah. So,
right. And that's, that's the route you're going to have to go. I don't know. I'm kind of, I want to wait and see if there is something else here, because then we can say like, oh, what we were talking about doesn't matter. Like they had a plan here.
Right, exactly. And maybe they do, but the one thing that I did see online, and I want to give credit to the person who I saw this from, and I don't
Mhm.
remember, so I apologize. Please know I do give you credit if I can think of it.
Mhm.
But they did post out Solovyov was a waiver wire pickup. We got him for
Yes.
nothing,
So you got him for nothing,
and then
right?
you turned that around into a bonus draft pick, which
Doesn't
is
hurt.
no. And I mean, it's a 7th round pick, so it's not
Right.
like a huge deal.
Right.
But on the same note, man, if you're acquiring assets from essentially nothing, that's not a bad piece of business. So
Yeah.
there's that aspect to it too. I have zero issues with this trade. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but I got to imagine that whoever's steering the ship is sending it in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I have problems with it. It's not like breaking the bank for me here because it's, we're talking about depth pieces, but just where
Yeah.
things are right now. Like if Taves was back and Solovyov was that guy that was in and out, okay, fine. Like this is a middle of the night, like Ryan Graves type of move where nobody really paid much mind of it when it happened.
Yeah.
But because we don't really know. I know he's close, but we don't have a definite.
Yeah.
And you have a bunch of games this week where you're gonna need a defenseman. He was serviceable.
Yeah.
Maybe you do like Shaka Khan and bring him up and let him take that role, I guess, until Taves. But
That's my
again,
that's my
I
thought.
want to see the end result here if there is one. If there's not, once you get Taves back, I think all this goes away
And yeah,
because it's really not going to matter. But I don't know.
I'm curious to see what happens with that 7th round pick because this feels like something that they can put it together with something else as part of a trade deal if they're going to
Sure,
try to make more moves. And
sure.
so I agree.
Yeah.
I think this is step one in step one, trade Ilya Solovyov. Step 3, profit.
Right.
So
All right, we'll see.
that's kind of what I'm at right now. I don't fully know.
Yeah. And I do want to throw out after the trade happened, almost immediately, I got a text message from none other than Shaggy Von Doom, who sent me a
Ooh.
text. And has watched him play because he lives around Wilkes-Barre, where
Oh yeah.
he has played. And he goes, I've watched him many times. I like him. He says he
Cool.
actually owns his jersey. Believe it or
No
not,
kidding.
he owns his Wilkes-Barre jersey. And he says he's got one, and he even said, he goes, one of those guys has a lot of upside and a lot of promise. Maybe just not the right fit, maybe not the right system. Who knows? But he thinks it was worth a shot to go after him. So
Cool.
Mr. Von Doom back in action. So he gets the Von Doom nod from Mr. Kyle. So hey,
I'll take
we'll
that.
see.
Heck yeah.
We'll
That's
see.
a good endorsement for
Yep.
me.
Excuse me. All right. One more break, and then we're going to get to talking some next game for the Avalanche with the Anaheim Ducks coming to town. We'll do that next. All right. We got FanDuel. It's officially playoff mode. Every game during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. And right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts, and you can apply to the bets you like most. I did see something the other day, Zach, that said if Bo Nix was in this game, the Broncos would be a 1.5 point favorite.
Really?
I saw that.
Okay.
So that's how much has it moved at all? I don't know. I don't know if you've it has.
It has.
Okay.
And not in the Broncos' favor.
Oh, really?
The Broncos are now 5.5-point dogs.
Wow. So it's gone up a point.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
At home. So Broncos country. It's got to be loud. You have to be loud in that stadium.
And get your profit boost picks in because 5.5. I think the Broncos can be in on that. So
I think the stadium itself is worth the points to cover that for sure.
Yeah. So visit FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Grab your profit boost pack before every NFL playoff game day, and you do that with FanDuel. Avs back in action on Wednesday against Anaheim. Want to continue that momentum from their last game into this one. And we did the power rankings beginning of the week. And when you were naming off the Anaheim numbers, I was kind of like a little bit in disbelief that they were so low. Yes, I did know they've gone through a little bit of a rough patch. They seem to be coming out of that after a nice 4-game win streak that they have going right now. But, you know, again, this is another example of two teams at different ends of the spectrum. So with how the Avs played last game, you'd love to see them carry that over into this one and get a nice win here. What do you think?
Agreed. I think this is a game that the Avs should absolutely be able to handle. Because I don't really know. The Ducks on a 4-game win streak, great. The Ducks have some talent. Dostal's been, I think he's probably predicted to get the start, right?
I would think so. They have a day off, so I would think so.
And he's been down as of late, but he started the season hot. So, you know, like the team's capable of doing more than they have. And a 4-game win streak does kind of show that. That being said, I still think the Avalanche are going to do what the Avs are capable of doing, and that is dominate a game, especially as they're trying to continue to show that they're not. I think there's a little bit to this homestand right now of we sort of got embarrassed by Nashville. We're not doing that at home, at least for a few more games, I would think. So I think this one's pretty good. I'd like to point out, I did go ahead and pull up those percentage odds of winning the cup on win or loss from from Money Puck.
All right.
And it actually does make sense this time. They go down 0.1% if they lose in regulation, and they go down 0.3% if they win in overtime for some reason.
Okay.
And then lose in overtime is a 0.4% drop. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this 4-game win streak that they have, teams that they beat the Stars outright, 3-1, and Dallas has been struggling, although they did win as we're recording this pretty handily against Boston. Yeah. So
now Boston's another kind of I'm unsure of what they are.
Yeah,
this year.
exactly. Right.
But still, if you can beat the Stars are still a top team.
So they beat the Stars, and then they played a home and home back-to-back with the Kings, and in LA beat them in a shootout, and at home beat them in overtime. Can you imagine if you're the Kings, you lose back-to-back games in extra time? One shootout, one in extra time. Amazing. And then they went on to beat the Rangers, who are just imploding. So but still, some good wins there. So, and they want to get back, like they're still in the hunt. They've had a bad stretch. They want to put that behind them. And again, another litmus test game for a team of Anaheim's abilities. What can we do against the Avalanche in Colorado?
Yeah.
We can walk out of there with a win. That just invigorates them, no doubt. Yes, they can score. This team can score. They are top 10 in the league in goals for at 5-on-5. But you can score against them too. Like you said earlier, they're at -13. We're talking about the plus minus for Nazem Kadri, but this is the same for Anaheim. That's that. Was he 13 or 17? Was I wrong? Was Kadri 17? I don't remember.
You said Kadri was a -18, and that's
an 18. Okay.
Yep.
So then never mind. But either way, Anaheim is
-13.
They're not as bad as Calgary, but they are -13 is not good. Yeah. So you can score on them. And you look at their point scores, they got offensive talent here. Leo Carlson is an up and coming star, and I just feel like he's going to be one of those guys that just gets forgotten about for some reason. Like he could be like Mikko Rantanen-esque of he's so good and people don't talk about him for some reason. Cutter Gauthier he's got 42 points in 48 games. Troy Terry, he continues to poke along. Like another guy that just doesn't really get talked about a lot. 42 points in 43 games. Beckett Seneca, he's young, up and coming guy, 38 points, 49 games. They have guys that can score, So you got to look out because, even if you're up 3-0 on this team, you blink and it's 3-2 or 3-3. So watch out for Anaheim because they know how to score.
Yeah, I agree. I also definitely agree that Troy Terry does not get talked about enough. Denver legend Troy Terry.
Yeah.
So, yep.
He does.
He definitely deserves more recognition just for the Colorado tie alone. But no, they absolutely do. They've got plenty of talent on that team to do better than they have. It's a little surprising the slide they've been on. So,
yeah,
you're not. This is another one of those. You're gonna get absolutely their best. Be ready for it. Play your game. Just play Avalanche hockey and you'll be fine. Like as cliche as that is, go play your game and you're gonna be no problem.
And I think they will. I'll always take the Avs at home. Tough place to win. So, I like the odds. Last thing I wanted to do, and your daughter brought this question up.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is a good question because I don't know the answer to this for you. People, she wanted to know who we root for outside of the Avalanche.
Yeah.
And people that have been listening to the show know that, growing up in New York, my dad was a Rangers fan. That's my East Coast team. I do pay attention to what the Rangers do. The Avalanche are nowhere in anything, or when the playoffs come around and, they're both in it. Of course, I'm going to Avalanche. And on the East side, I'll root for the Rangers. So that I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Anybody that's, the everydayers, they know that. I don't know what it is for you. I don't think we've ever had that conversation of who you root for, if anybody, outside of the Avalanche. So good question from your daughter, because does she know the answer to
I think she does, but
okay.
I'm honestly not 100% sure. She might, but she also posed the question, so maybe she does not.
Okay.
West Coast or Western Conference, although it is West Coast, would be the San Jose Sharks. Ever since Brent Burns was on the Sharks, I have just been a fan of that team. Apart when they eliminated the Avs, I obviously was very anti-Sharks during that series.
Sure.
Outside of that, I've wanted them to make a better run, and that just makes this season so much more fun for me. Watching them they're so easy to root for this year. So I think it's Sharks, and then there goes my phone. If it has to be an East Coast team, I'm gonna go the Canes. I think
really
the Hurricanes would be the team. Yeah. Not sure why. I always have a lot of fun with them. I think it started when they started doing that storm surge thing, and a whole bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's so dumb. Why do they do that? I don't like it." I think that was the moment where I was like, they're having a lot of fun. So, and the fact that it makes people mad made me like it. And so since then, I've kind of been like, yeah, sure. I always want to beat them, but I can pull for the Canes.
A good buddy of mine lives in Charlotte, so a little bit outside of Raleigh. So he's a big Canes fan. So I'll pay attention to them too. So just because he's one of my best friends. So we're always talking hockey. So he's always updating me. So I don't mind the Hurricanes. But going back to the Sharks were like for me, they were kind of like the hip team before the Avalanche came around. It's just it's just a cool logo, cool colors,
right?
You know what I mean? So, and when you're a kid, I think I was 10 years old when they came into existence. It was just like a edgy team name, edgy team logo. And as a kid, you loved that stuff. So they were the it team for me before Colorado came around, and then all bets were off. Yeah. So I get it with the Sharks. Yep. But,
they've always been a fun team for me. Like I said, apart from that one series with the offsides Gabe Landeskog goal that I am still not over so many years later, and probably never will be, because that team would have won the cup. You cannot convince me otherwise.
I know.
Outside of that series, I'll root for the Sharks almost all the time.
Yeah.
They're fun. And Celebrini, man, that's going to be so fun to watch the development. So, yep.
It's weird. Like on the West Coast, I can't find myself rooting for anybody other than obviously the Avalanche. I just can't find myself doing it.
I can't do the Kings. I definitely can't do Seattle, of course.
No.
I'm not a big Anaheim.
Like I pay attention to the Kings. It's the Gretzky thing for me. Like me again, growing up in the '90s, like Wayne Gretzky and Los Angeles Kings, like were just like I wasn't like Wayne Gretzky Edmonton because that was really like I was tiny, so I didn't really know. But yeah, so the Kings are. That's just when I think of or watch them, I just go right to Gretzky memories. But also like on the East Coast, outside of the Rangers, like I want to see Toronto do well, man.
Yeah,
I do. I am not a Toronto hater. Never have
no,
been. Never have
if
been.
I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I do find it funny, like, and I probably shouldn't, but when they have as many struggles as they've had, I find it funny just because of how every year it's like, okay, game 5, plan the parade, game 55, blow everything up, everything's imploding. They snuck into the playoffs, plan the parade. They were eliminated in the first round, blow everything up, everything's over.
Yep. No, the fan base is wild. It is crazy. But just as a franchise, I want to see them succeed. I think the league is better for it when they are in it. They're in it. So
makes sense.
Just a classic team. So, all right, good answers. I'm glad I know that. I wish I had like the more you know thing going across the screen right now because we have learned something today. So, all right, that will wrap it up. Zach and I will be back tomorrow. What time is this game?
7 p.m. puck drop for Mountain Time.
Okay. So we'll be good. We'll record after this game is over. And anything else that might be happening? Is there a follow-up trade here? We'll be talking about that as well. So make sure you're tuned into that one. But for this one, thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Of course, that is always appreciated. He is Mr. Zach Pearson. I am Chris Micieli. It's the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And even though it didn't happen today, you are still 24 hours closer to Sidney Crosby being with the Colorado Avalanche.
As part of that follow-up trade.